Hello everyone, so this will be a how can I practice this video, and I will be focusing on 3 excerpts from Beethoven sonatas that you all requested in the previous videos. And although they're specific examples, there are techniques and concepts that can be applied to other pieces as well, and it's mostly geared towards pianists. And if you're not a pianist, maybe stick around anyway. You might gather a tip here or there. But the techniques that I will be covering will include broken octaves, consecutive chords that are kind of hopping around in the right hand, contrapuntal sections in terms of voicing and how to fit rhythmic elements together, and descending trills in the left hand. So stick around if you're interested. If not, I'll see you in the next video. So the octave pattern, your hands can get tired easily, so I would just block it and then get used to the wrist being relatively loose for each iteration. And then I would go back and forth between playing it that way and playing it broken. I would practice that leap, going from the high G to the C. Yes, case in point. So this is just something I came up with. To the broken octave patterns, I'm going to be adding these intervals. So in the right hand, I would group certain chords together, which was crucial because just grouping them simplifies the different positions, so you're not thinking of each quarter note chord going to the next one. So those might be these two together, and then the next two together, and then the next three together. And then again, groups of two, and then the end. And I would spot each of those hand positions in those groups. So in this section, one of the trickier parts, in my opinion, are actually going from measure 26 to 27 and then also 30 to 31, because we're coming out of this broken octave pattern and then we have to stop on a solid octave, and what the thumb is doing is actually quite quick. So slowly. So I noticed this type of movement gets muddy whenever you're going from something broken and maybe oscillating and then stopping on a solid chord or an octave. And that's because of the quick thumb movement. So I would pay attention to that. Of course, you can maybe just practice your thumb. In separating the lines, focusing on the rhythmic characteristic of each line really helps. So first of all, the top line is the one that your ears pick up the most. So we're going to focus on the middle line, which, if this is the beat, so that to me is kind of hard to grasp unless I really pay attention to it in isolated form. In terms of fingering, I would spot the third finger for the beginning of each measure from 33, 34, 35. So just being mindful of that helps. So, and also the phrasing is short, short, long. So I would keep that in mind. So the alto voice. And then the tenor voice. Actually gonna go double time. Soprano and tenor. Alto and bass. Soprano and bass. So here, to keep the hands together and to keep it rhythmically precise, there are rhythmic markers that I think you should be more aware of over others. So this is what I'm going to try next. Starting from measure 35, I'm going to be playing the top line of the right hand with the left hand minus the notes on the beat itself and just the second and third notes of each beat, so that I can work on the rhythmic clarity of those two eighth notes. So to summarize, I think to understand and hear the rhythm and feel the rhythm in two parts really helps keep hands together and also have that rhythmic clarity. And that's combining the notes on the beat, the lines, the bass lines, depending on the pitches, together with the upbeats. So the key here is to pay attention to the transitions between the trills. So these notes, they're descending in the E flat major scale. And all the transition notes will be a set of 3 notes. So for example, going from the first and the second trill, it will be these notes. And then the next transition, so on and so forth. So prime your ears to hear those pitches. Decide whether you want to trill with fingers 1 and 2 or fingers 3 and 2, and make sure you transition over to those 2 fingers regardless of what finger you're using for the first note of the trill. But the fingerings themselves don't matter as much as those transitions. So when I'm practicing it, I would practice it slow and continuous, but with those transition pitches in mind. You want to have that organized because otherwise you might be doing the trill ending on the note that's higher and then restarting the trill below. So then there wouldn't be a transition. Just as a means of practice, I might go down the E flat major scale with this pattern. So just trilling but transitioning from note to note. That's impossible on this keyboard.